in the studio this morning wearing his Friends of Bitter Lake Wildlife Refuge t-shirt. I always say hat, but technically he's wearing the t-shirt today. Don Weld back with us. Morning, Don.
Good morning, Mike. I forgot my hat this morning.
That's all right. The t-shirt got you covered.
Yeah.
So he'll need the hat later for the sun.
Yeah.
I imagine if you head out to Bitter Lake this weekend, lots of sunscreen, lots of water, and it's going to be warm out there, but it should be beautiful.
Come out early or come out late.
Yeah.
Get it early in the morning because that's when the animals are active.
Animals are smart too.
Yes,
when
they
it's
are.
hot, they don't hang out and run around either. They're lying low and staying cool. So
yeah, they know.
Yeah.
They've had a few million years ahead of us there
exactly
to learn all of that.
Yeah, be like the animals, and they might know what's going on in that situation.
Yeah.
But it's great to see that now the weather's warming up and we're getting out of COVID. That things are happening out at Bitter Lake Wildlife Refuge again. For folks, if you haven't been out in a while. I'd love to invite you to come on back out, and the gift shop and everything's open.
We're
back
all
up.
open 5 days a week, though. It's only Monday through Friday.
Good deal.
The problem is we just don't have. We need volunteers.
If you'd like to be a friend of Bitter Lake, that's another. I know we got some events coming up here, but if you would like to be a friend of the Bitter Lake Wildlife Refuge, it's a great way to be active in our community, but. It's fun because if you love the outdoors, if you love, even working, like if you're a gardener and love that kind of stuff, there's lots of volunteer work that they need, like service projects for trails to be repaired or replaced, or various like the bird observation deck there. That was one of the major projects that got done.
Finished up, yeah.
But there's a lot of projects that get done, and it's done by the Friends volunteers, and it's sometimes
right.
Raking and doing some work on trails, or maybe even to the point where they're mitigating and getting rid of some of the invasive wildlife, or not wildlife, but plant life and things that are
salt cedar.
Yeah, the ones that try to come in and basically attack Bitter Lake. These are foreign. The salt cedar, it's stuff that's not native to this area that got brought here and turned out to do real well, and to the point where it overcrowds and crowds out what should be here.
That's right.
That is one of the constant battles that Friends of Bitter Lake and Steve and everyone out at Bitter Lake, they're constantly doing those kind of projects to keep what's supposed to be there, and what's not supposed to be there out of there.
Yeah, and that's a tough battle because we have to do that all the time.
Yeah.
We're constantly working on that.
So if you love that kind of work and that kind of stuff, Bitter Lake Wildlife Refuge, the Friends of Bitter Lake, would love to have you be a part of it. But even if that's not your bag, but would love to maybe spend the weekends running the gift store or something like that, that would be great. It would be a huge asset. You come out there, and there's a lot of perks because I'm sure you get time on your hands. You can kind of read some of the books and see some of the, what I mean? You get to kind of experience some of that fun yourself. Hanging out there, whether it's a couple hours on the weekend or all day or whatever you can do. But we need more of those folks that love to do that.
And the nature store has more than just the books and stuff. Throughout the whole nature store area, we have kind of like a museum.
Gotcha.
Of all the, we've taken a lot of animals that died over the years.
Sure.
Kind of happened, and many of them were stuffed. We've got birds that hang from the ceiling.
Oh, neat.
Like they're flying still,
okay.
That kind
of thing.
That
just, that's great. It's great to see. And again, things native to Bitter Lake Wildlife Refuge.
That's right.
In our region. These are
that's
those.
Right. That's what most of this is.
Yeah, learning about that stuff. And even... And here's the other part, too. We talk about the natural history side of Bitter Lake.
Mm-hmm.
It's a study in human history as much as it is with our Native American hunting grounds and population, to even a little bit more modern history and a lot of the actual structures and things out at Bitter Lake are part of the New Deal era.
They were built by CCC.
Yeah, the CCC, which is during that New Deal era, during Roosevelt administration, where they had the New Deal stuff working on like infrastructure for roads and things. CCC was doing projects like Bitter Lake, and they've even got evidence of their work up in the Capitan, Cloudcroft, those mountain areas and stuff too.
They were based at Bitter Lake during that area. And then they would go out to places like Capitan and work on the roads. they might spend days up there, but then they would come back to the Bitter Lake area and camp there.
Okay, so that was kind of their base camp
Kind of like
for a
a
lot
base
of that
for 'em.
stuff.
Yep.
Which once you go out to Bitter Lake and see why, and you see why it's their base camp. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful little place. It literally is an oasis in the desert. We joke about it actually
It is.
This is literally what that is.
That's right. Yeah, you can go to Iraq and Iran and all the, out in the deserts like that. We have our own little oasis right here.
Yeah.
You look around the outside area and you see desert, and it looks like a desert.
Yeah.
But right there, we've got those little ponds of water. Unfortunately, we don't have as much water as we did
The drought is
100
hurting,
years ago. But
Yeah, and I imagine just the drought conditions and everything over time. That's because let's face it, as long as I've been here, we've been in a drought. You know
Yes,
what I
right.
mean?
That's
and
right.
and
And it
over
keeps
time,
going
that's
down.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but we have a lot of groups of people, and that's why and this is and this is something I want to explain. And because just some of the stuff we were talking about here, the oasis, the fact that it's there to preserve natural New Mexico wildlife and plant life.
right.
It's a different place than bottomless lakes. I always want to get that information. Bottomless lakes is a great fun place.
It's a recreational site.
Recreation area to go swimming, picnicking, doing all that stuff.
Right.
Bitter Lake is a wildlife preserve. It's a reserve. It's for
That's why we call it a refuge.
yeah, it's a refuge. It's there to foster and to enhance wildlife and plant life native to this part of our country.
And
here.
mostly the transitory birds that come through.
And
here.
it is also basically a pilot or flying J for our
There you
migratory.
There you go. That's the way you put it.
But for our migratory birds, we're like the interstate for the birds here when
You
they
got
go
it.
north and
Yeah.
south for the winter.
We even get pelicans that come through here.
That's cool.
Isn't
Yeah,
that
we were
something?
talking about that last time.
Yeah.
because I was thinking that's surprising. I would think they'd stay more coastal, but not
Well,
always. I guess a few would get inland.
Well,
a little
they
bit.
go up to Salt Lake.
Okay,
They spend a lot of pelicans.
that's one of their.
their destinations.
Do they prefer salt water? Is that?
I think so.
okay.
I'm not sure about that. But they come through here to the Gulf Coast,
Okay.
Texas Gulf Coast area, and then when summer
Okay.
comes on, they go back up
Interesting.
into Utah in that area.
Okay.
So
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know, just in my head, because I always see pelicans at the beach, you know what I
Right.
mean, and those kind of things. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the heck they doing in New Mexico? Granted, we got a lot of beach, just not a lot of ocean for me.
that's right. Yeah.
But it is cool to see that, and that's what we want folks to embrace and learn about
Right.
Bitter Lake, because it's kind of like think of it as also a little internal calendar. You're like, okay, it's the fall. I'm going to be looking for this. It's the summer. You go to Bitter Lake in the spring, and then you go in the summer, and then you go in the fall, and you go in the winter. It's 4 different experiences.
That's right.
There's different things going on at each phase or each season there. Maybe it's, some are more active than others, obviously, when we talk
Sure.
about animals and things, especially when we get to this time of year. It's going to happen. Unfortunately, folks, they don't care that you like to sleep in on Saturdays. They don't care. They got to do their thing before it's
right.
so dark 30 because it's going to be 104 about noon that day. So
That's
they
right.
do all that. So I know we want to sleep in all that, but if you come out early, see that you can see some of the feeding, some of the hunting, and some of the things that they got going on at those times of the day.
And that gate opens at sunrise.
So you can get there dark 30.
Dark 30.
Yeah.
At sunrise, you pull in, you go down to the ponds on the south end, and you'll see the birds out there. You'll see them moving around. We've got raccoons. We've got fox. We've got watch out for the snakes. So
And now it's getting warmer. They're going to be out
snake
more abundant.
season.
Yeah.
I was out on the butterfly trail the other day, and I saw a beautiful bull snake. Now, when you look at those, and the first thing you think is, "Oh, that's a rattler."
Yeah.
No. You
No,
look
they're
at it a little
harmless.
closer, and it's just got the thin, narrow tail, and,
Yeah, they're-
and the different head shape.
Don't mess with them, but they're not
No,
poisonous.
they won't like being messed. But the bull snakes are good. We really want those because they keep the rattlers away.
Gotcha. They're the deterrent for the rattlesnakes. All right.
And we have a couple of horny toads out there.
Oh, cool. So I'm at certain times of the day. I bet you hear them.
Well, they're out there chasing the ants.
Okay.
because that's their favorite meal is they look for the ant nest. So try not to disturb the ant nest.
Because that's
I don't like the ants around my house.
Right.
I get rid of them, but
a snack bar for the horny toads.
yes,
so.
that's their favorite meal. So
Interesting. Well, and that's when we talk about the circle of life and all of the nature's balance and the food chain and all of those things. That's where you get to see nature in action.
You
and
got
seeing it in the natural habitat, and that's what Bitter Lake's all about. I mean, I love zoos and I love what they do, but at the end of the day, they can't replicate what you're seeing out at Bitter Lake Wildlife Refuge.
Yeah. When they say that's a wild in the wildlife.
Exactly. Yeah, and on the same note, when you come across animals and things out there, please be an observer and not a participant. That's
Correct.
another thing I want to remind you. These aren't pets. These aren't animals that are accustomed to having people coming up to them and touching them.
Mm-hmm.
They are going to act erratically when you do that. They may just flee, most of them, but you may, if you come across an angry mama somewhere, you
Yes.
I don't care if it's a raccoon, a bird, or something bigger.
We have swallows out there that nest the entryway into the nature store.
Yeah.
We have some clay pots up in the rafters up there.
And then you nest
and
in
the
those?
swallows nest in there. During the nesting season, when they have those eggs opening up and their babies are starting to chirp and all that, please be aware of those young babies out there. Now, then the other animals, like the snakes, will try and find them. The
Sure.
raccoons will even
Yeah,
find
they got
them.
a lot of predators.
Sure, the fox, things like that. But those mama birds, they will dive bomb you.
Yeah. And I'm guessing because they know they're real predators are the fox and all that, that's why they go in those pots where there's
Right, it's
where-
up out of the way.
because they know where there's humans, there's probably not going to be as many foxes hanging out. They're
Yeah.
they're not stupid. They know what they're doing, and they know that as a whole, we won't mess with them.
Right.
And
there's more of them on the back deck as well, observation deck out
very
back.
cool. But that's great because you can bring your kids out there
And show
safely,
'em.
of course, and show them how these birds are. Look, they're raising their young and how they're
That's
doing
right.
it. And depending on the stages you catch them out there, you can maybe catch in some of the raising process where they're feeding them and teaching them to fly and getting them ready to be adult birds.
If you're patient and hold back and watch them for a little bit, you will probably see that.
That's cool.
The birds will fly up and feed the babies and then fly off.
Yeah,
You know.
and that's the mom's job.
That's
they're
right.
Constantly
Mom
doing
and
24
dad.
Yeah,
They
that's-
both do it.
That's a full-time role. It's kind of impressive to watch that whole process and see it. Like if you get bored, do like a YouTube video search of some of that stuff, and I'm sure they've got some like time ones where they speed it up and you see that whole process and see how cool that is, and then come experience it for real at Bitter Lake.
We want to try and get some videos of the nature area out there and put it on our website.
Okay.
Now, we do have a website, is the friendsofbitterlake.org.
Okay.
Friends of Bitter Lake is all one word.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's the internet. Don't put any spaces or anything.
Right.
So is the point putting like a live cam at some point at some things?
We might do something like
That'd
that.
be
We're
cool.
working on how we want to do that.
Especially if you've got like a bird or something that's like about to, because you see that all the time at like zoos and things, like the eagles are about to hatch their young or something,
Yep.
and they put an internet feed, and you get people from all over the world watching those
That's
things.
right.
I'm thinking if you could find a couple of those nature and action type deals and see if you can somehow put a hidden GoPro in there and just let people watch that. Who knows? Maybe there's an eagle or something out there that's having young, and you could just happen to catch the right thing, or fox or something. Maybe it's mammals or something that we get.
We get some owls out there sometimes.
See, that'd be cool, too.
Different, mostly the smaller ones, the sawweed or something like that.
Yeah.
And some of these little owls. Oh, the name just went away from me. I had it. It's the ones that go down in the gopher holes, live in the gopher holes. See?
Yeah, I'm bad.
It'll
at
come back
remembering
to
it,
me
yeah.
in a minute here.
About 10 minutes after we're done, you'll remember.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, so those are out there too, and we'll see some of those with the young
Cool.
every once in a while.
See, this is why I want to get people out there and come see this. It's like I said, it's different than bottomless lakes. That's picnic and fun and all that.
That's
and
right.
So
Water fun.
Definitely get your family and do some of that. But if you want to come and see New Mexico nature, see wildlife in action, see the beauty that is New Mexico, go out to Bitter Lake. I know everyone loves to head to the mountains, and I agree. Mountains are awesome. Love going up there.
Especially during the summer.
It's amazing. But instead of going west, head a little east to Bitter Lake and come check it out. It's right in your own backyard.
Pine Lodge, take about 9 miles, and you're in there.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's just up the road, and then it literally is a whole different world out there.
Yeah.
It's great. Now, a couple things we do want to put on people's radar. The biggest event that happens out at Bitter Lake Wildlife Refuge is their Dragonfly Festival.
Dragonfly Festival coming up.
That's a September staple. Always happens right around September 11th time frame. This year's again right around that time. I don't remember the date right off the top of my head.
I always remember it this way: the first Saturday after Labor Day.
Gotcha. So right around that 10th there is usually what it is. But
10th, 11th. I'll check it for you right now, but I think it's the 11th.
Gotcha.
Year.
But and it's really a
10th.
It's the 10th. Okay. It's the big day is that Saturday, which would be the 10th. However, it really is a 3-day event because usually that Friday night they're going to have some stuff going out there. Usually do stargazing and usually have a couple little demonstration type stuff and things for people. Saturday's the all day where they've got the tours going. Things. They got the booths going on. They've got the various vendors and all the fun stuff for everybody out there. If they do butterfly release, all that stuff, that's Saturday. But some people don't realize they offer tours on Sunday till about noon or so too. So if all the tours fill up on Saturday and there's a couple really good. There's the Dragonfly tour. There's the early bird tour, and then there's kind of there's 3, right? It's like a general, like one's on Dragonflies, one's more about the whole.
Yeah, it's the Refuge tour.
Yeah, it's like a Refuge tour. It's not focusing just on Dragonflies.
Mostly the early bird tour gets most of that.
Gotcha.
Because we want to get them out. The early birds, we wanted to get them back to the places where we might still see some of those early animals.
Gotcha, catching them in there. Getting ready for breakfast or whatever it is, yeah.
So when they're just getting started.
So that's the kind of stuff that goes on out there. Now, I know we were saying that's September. This is May still. What are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Now's the time. If you would like to be a sponsor, if you would like to be involved in Bitter Lake, the Dragonfly Festival does not happen for free. However, you get to enjoy it for free. So if there's folks out there that would like to sponsor and things like that, we would love to have all these tours we're talking about. You have to sign up for them, but it doesn't cost you a penny to enjoy all of that.
That's
stuff.
right.
So if you're a business or an organization or an individual that would like to be a part of this year's 2022 Dragonfly Festival as a sponsor, the Friends of Bitter Lake would love to talk to you, love to have you come be a part of it, and make this year's. Which I'm not gonna lie, we haven't been able to do this in a year or two, so we're kind of a little anxious to make this one happen because we haven't had a chance to come out in the fall and do this for the last couple of years. But the Dragonflies have been there; they didn't leave, so we want to come
always
out
there, and they're coming out. Actually, the Dragonflies start coming out in the spring.
Okay,
April, May, or March, April, May. They start producing and coming out. They're little larvae in the water to start with, and that's the time of year when they start coming out of their larva stage into the actual what we see dragonfly stage.
Okay,
and they'll do that all summer.
Wow,
coming out and flying around, mating. They don't really. They'll eat, but their big thing is
producing. Well, and are they like other insects where their lifespan is really a couple weeks or something like that? Or is it, it's not very long. Yeah.
Once they've mated and done their thing during the summer, they die off.
Yeah.
They spend at least 6 months, from one summer to the next, or one fall to the next spring.
Okay.
At least that long in the water.
Okay.
As a nymph.
Just growing and pupating or whatever they do there. Yeah.
And in some cases, they may be in the nymph stage for as long as a couple of years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
does weather conditions vary in that, or
I'm not an expert on that.
That's where you get Steve and those guys in here to talk.
Yeah. But and we hoping we get our new biologist here before then.
Oh, cool.
I'd love to get a new biologist to come in here and talk.
Oh, yeah, we could talk me Them good science, me just asking dumb questions. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Me too. Yeah.
It's like, why is that purple?
Yeah. I'm learning so much, and I have no. There's so many things I have no clue on.
But it's so cool to
It is.
and that's the fun part, really, is I don't care how long you've been on this earth, you go out there and you're like, I just got introduced to something I've never seen in my time. You know what I mean? It's as we get older, it's harder to impress us. You know what I mean? Because we see more. But when you go out there, and I don't care how long you've been around, you go out there and you're like, oh man, this is really.
I always come across, as long as I've been going out there, and I still find things that are new and interesting and just catch me right there. Oh yeah.
Well, it reminds us. I think, me personally, when you go out to places like Bitter Lake, it kind of reminds me and us in our place in the big world and things.
Yeah.
And you kind of, and I know we get all wrapped up in our lives and what's going on, but then you go out there and it's like, life happens. Life goes on. Whatever problems I'm dealing with, life still goes on.
That's right.
And I think Bitter Lake is a welcome reminder of that sometimes. And you go out there and it's like, look, I'm dealing with whatever. And then you look, it's like, look, this is survival. This is a dragonfly, or this is a crane that's here doing its thing. And we take our world and what we're going on, but look at that perspective and look what they're doing. And it just reminds me there's a whole lot going on outside of your little bubble sometimes.
You can go out there sometimes and you can walk around and see things and think, this might be what it would lead like if there wasn't any humans.
Sure.
You
kind of think about that. It's like, what would have been, or what could have been, or what if we didn't do this, what would be here now? And I love playing that little what if scenario in my head. Sometimes to my detriment, but I do like knowing.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like,
Yeah, but we want to. What we're trying to really say is, come on out. Bitter Lake is welcoming you guys back. Come be a part. Come be a friend of Bitter Lake. We're looking for new recruits to come and help work with these service projects. Serve on the board. I know you got some great people that do, but they would love help, and
we need all the help we can get.
All we can get, and now especially since we're coming out of a dormant COVID world and going back into let's live life again, and let's go and see how life's been doing without us over at Bitter Lake.
Yeah.
And go see that and really come and be a part. And I think once you find that niche and everything, I think you're gonna love it. You're gonna if you've never been out to a Dragonfly Festival, make this one in September 10th your first one out there. I guarantee you're gonna be so. Especially if you live here and you're like, how did I not go out here before? Because you literally, it feels like you just, like you can't do Star Trek beam you to some other place and be in a different world. This is like the closest thing.
That's right.
Except you only got to go 9 miles up the highway to do it. You don't have to, and that's what, I'm telling you, till you've been there and seen it, you can't really, we can sit here and talk to you blue in the face, but you got to go out there and see what awesomeness you have right in your own backyard.
That's right. There's a deal on TV sometimes about that I see every once in a while about the strangest planet in the universe. We're on it.
You're right. and if you love like the human history stuff, please talk with Steve and those guys out there about the.
That's right.
To me, I mean, I love the nature stuff is cool and all that, but as a guy that's like a Civil War buff, and I love that kind of history, to me, hearing about the Native American hunting grounds and how they did all that, and how they did it with working with the ecosystem, where we white men didn't learn that lesson so well,
right.
but how they would do that, and let's face it, the science in which they did it. In a time where you don't think much about science, they had it down to a science. And to me, that's as fascinating as to me, that's just like going when I went on vacation, this was years ago, but I was down in Mexico and I got to go to one of the Aztec cities there and doing all that and seeing. And And it's the same kind of thing where you see temples that they use for the sun and dictating. And this was thousands of years ago, and they got it exactly right. So at a certain time of the year, the sun shines through a window in this temple and creates this, or the moon goes right through this temple.
All right.
To me, that's so fascinating. And Bitter Lake and that Native American and the hunting and how to me, that's the same equal fascination to me to achieve momentous things without the technologies we have today.
Yeah.
To talk about that to me, that is a testament in human beings right there, and showing that. And to me, I love learning about that stuff. So.
It's funny how humans seem to go through cycles of education.
Mm-hmm.
The Native Americans learned all of this stuff, used it. Then we kind of seemed to back off because we thought, our other technology is much far greater.
Sure.
And then we come back and we find out, hey, they knew something.
Mm-hmm.
They knew how to do these things. So now let's take another look at that and see if we can apply it to our modern world.
That's what we got is learn how to incorporate technology with the way of the world, the Mother Nature, with the flow of life and how it goes, because it's a beautiful dance, and we're along for that ride, and it's cool to see how see it in action sometimes. So
do you know how they got the name Bitter Lake?
I do not.
Well, the early white people who came through, they would drive their cattle through here.
Okay.
And they would come up to let the cattle drink water and such. Well, they got to those lakes because it was so salty coming up. It was bitter.
Okay.
So they named it Bitter Lake because that's where it was still drinkable water.
Sure.
But it was bitter.
So is that more brackish water that's out there?
It's what it is.
Okay.
It's because it comes up through an aquifer through a lot of chemicals.
Okay.
Natural chemicals, not artificial.
And this is where I'm really naive on all this, and maybe this might be a question for somebody else, but the aquifers that we have that feed water to Roswell and all that, are they attached to Bitter Lake at all, or is that completely are they?
They're separate aquifers that come in from different. All our
I didn't know if they're all connected somewhere or another.
Yeah, most of them come from up the hill here. You can go all the way up to Ruidoso.
Yeah, and that's why they say the rainwater, when Ruidoso gets more rain, that's good for us.
Right,
because the
most
water
of that
flows
goes
down.
underground.
Yeah.
Or a lot of it goes underground into these aquifers. So that's why we need snow on the mountain, because it replenishes our aquifers.
Gotcha. It slowly melts and it actually gets used. So
yeah,
I was just curious about that. I wanted to know how much the Bitter Lake water impacted the water that we service Roswell and everything.
It comes from the same source, but in a different
tap.
ways. I have a well at my place that I tap off of an aquifer.
Okay.
That aquifer came from downtown here and goes out southeast from here.
Okay.
But there's another aquifer that's out on the little farther east that comes in. The aquifer out there is clean. Mine is contaminated with that chemical that the dry cleaners put in the wastewater years and years ago.
And they can't get it out or anything?
Well, they just have to let it dissipate.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it's slowly, the state comes down and checks my well about once a year.
Okay.
And they give me a little report and says, yeah, it's coming down,
good.
Dissipating, but.
Well, if you start glowing one day, we'll know what happened.
Yeah. That's why I was born about the time of the Roswell incident. So.
There you go. It was a weather balloon.
Yeah, actually, I was born a little bit before. They were coming back to get me. See?
Oh, they were like, we missed one. We gotta get him. I wonder though. When we talk about Bitter Lake and the brackish water, I wonder if that is the reason why our water. I mean, we got plenty of it, but it's hard water, and I wonder if that has something to do with that. That's one of the variables for that. So.
That water comes through all of those sediments and minerals and such in the ground. And that's what we're drawing up to use.
Interesting.
So we have to clean that out a little bit to make it taste a little better.
I love this stuff. This is fun.
We could drink it right out of the wall.
Yeah.
Even mine, even with that stuff in there, I could drink it.
Yeah. All I can think of is Crocodile Dundee. You can eat it, but it tastes like beep.
Yeah,
Same
you
kind of
got
deal.
it.
You can drink it, but it tastes like beep.
Yeah. So, and we just don't like that. We're, humans, we're getting soft.
Yeah, we are soft. We like things that taste good. We're weird.
That's right.
But we're running out of time here. But folks, come out to Bitter Lake.
Yep.
Come out. What's like you said, they open right at dawn. And what's their normal viewing hours for? Let's do the gift store and all that hours, and then the actual refuge hours.
The gift store opens at 9.
Okay.
9. I better check that for sure. But I think it opens at 9. It closes around 3.
Okay. And that's Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday. And like I say, if we get more volunteers and we get this built up, we'll open up on Saturdays too.
So we can get some more of the probably the bigger crowds on the weekends.
Yes.
When people are actually.
That's what we would like to get.
Yeah.
If you want to talk to them, you can call the gift store. You can call it 575-244-6256.
Okay.
Now, if you want something about donation, if you go into the gift store, they have some of these donation forms.
Okay, which looks like this. You'll see them there at.
Yeah, they'll be at the counter there at the gift store. We also have membership forms if you want to join, or you can go on to our website and in our newsletter, which is posted on the news site or on the website. There's a newsletter in there, and in the newsletter there's a form to join Bitter Lake. Print it, cut it, send it.
Perfect. And that website is friendsofbitterlake.com. .org. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
.org. Friendsofbitterlake.org. And keep that on your favorites, because when Dragonfly Festival comes and you want to start reserving your early bird and Dragonfly tours and getting all that stuff, you can go through that same website and reserve your times for those.
August 1st is typically when we open up the reservations.
Okay, so mark that on your calendars too.
Yeah.
They do fill up. I will say this:
do.
those tours. So if you've got a narrow window or you want a specific time and to get out and do it, the earlier you sign up, the more likely you're going to get the time you want.
That's correct.
So, but friendsofbitterlake.org, you can go there, learn more about. And like I said, if you want to become a sponsor for this year's Dragonfly Festival out of Bitter Lake, please sign up now. Please reach out. If you want to volunteer to be a friend or come out and serve, either maybe you're like, man, you should be open on the weekends. Like, yeah, we should. Come and help us. And they'll do that. Or if you rather get a little dirty, get out there and do some service projects and things. Would love to have all those folks here as we get time. And it's not like they're doing something every weekend, but when it's time to do a major project, they got to get the manpower and everything.
That's right.
Needed to make that happen. So you can be on that list and ready to go when they're ready to tackle whatever project they're ready for the labor force to come in and work on. So
that phone number I gave is the best number to get information from.
Okay.
Barring that you can't get in or have a problem with that, you could call me.
Okay. And you'll get to the right person.
And I'll get you information on whatever you need. I'm at 575-495-3325.
Okay. And of course, if you just have questions about being a friend or something, call Don. He'll be happy to answer those questions.
Yes. Yeah. No kidding. Give me a call. I'll get you into the right place.
Absolutely. And of course, again, businesses, everything, this is a great opportunity to be a sponsor. If you love Southeast New Mexico and you love the nature and you love preserving that kind of stuff for generations to come, supporting things like the Dragonfly Festival does that. So if you want to make sure your grandkids have the exact same awesome experience out at Bitter Lake that you're having, that best way to do that is support through these different venues. So
come on out.
Good deal. Did we get it all done? Is there anything we missed?
I'm sure we did.
Good deal.
I'm involved in so many things.
Yeah, we'll get him back in. We got to talk some as they're gearing up for the Alzheimer's walk here pretty soon. That's
Alzheimer's, Legion.
All that stuff.
All that kind of stuff.
Good deal. Well, thank you, Don. Appreciate the visit as always. And
thank you, Mike.
Can't wait till next trip here.
Yeah.
We'll get to one time. We'll get Steve in here, and he'll bring all kind of weird stuff.
There you go. maybe next month I'll come back a couple of times. One with Steve and
Perfect.
and Jimmy and
Yeah, we get them all in,
and then another time I'll come back and talk about Alzheimer's and all this other stuff.
Absolutely. And if we ever get the biologist on board and come in, we'd love
There
to
you
have
go.
them on and talk about what's this smell and what's that thing and why does
Yeah.
it look like that.
RoswellLegion.org. If
Yes.
you want to go to school, you want a scholarship, go to RoswellLegion.org.
Absolutely.
There's a deal on there for scholarships.
Absolutely.
So look that up.
Yeah, RoswellLegion.org. If you and it's for STEM or first responder. So
Right.
if that's the careers you're pursuing, and you have a veteran connection, whether you yourself are a veteran or mom and dad or immediate family, then you qualify. So go.
And it doesn't have
RoswellLegion.org.
to be your typical college. It can be a trade school.
Yeah, anything. Yeah, it's just if it's secondary education from an accredited place, then
We'll work it out.
we'll make it happen. So
Yeah.
good deal. Well, thank you, Don.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time. Don't work too hard. I know. I should tell you that you don't listen.
I never listen. If I'm not doing something, I'll get nervous and agitated.
That's where the
So
trouble starts.
you
right?
got it.
Well, thank you, Don.
Thank you, Mike.
It is 8:56.